story comes out that ISIS published online what's being described as a kill list, the names and photos, home addresses of about 100 U.S. military personnel. Those who continue to ignore or downplay the religious significance of this conflict should read the message posted with the list. It begins, "O you who worship the cross, O you crusaders that fight the Islamic State," goes on, makes threats, but particularly they've targeted 100 military personnel. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it is sick, and it shows the level of inhumanity from the Sunni Muslims. ISIS are Sunni Muslim, Iran are Shia Muslim. Iran is responsible for over 1/3 of all of our military soldiers who are killed in Iraq. So whether it's coming from Sunni or whether it's coming from Shia, both of them are targeting America's military because their goal ultimately is to defeat the United States. This is a real war. We don't take this lightly. And that's why I think it is inexplicable the way that President Barack Obama is handling this threat. We haven't seen a threat like this on the earth in our lifetimes, and this is almost daily. But just in the last few days, I have headlines in front of me about the Yemen attack that shows the spreading threat from ISIS. There was over 135 who were killed in Yemen, the worst terrorist attack in Yemen's history. Just prior to that, in Tunisia, there was a museum attack where 19 innocent foreigners were killed. There was also an attack in London on a synagogue where people were killed. And also, there's a new effort now to undermine the World Bank so that China sets up their own bank and then can also be a part of the threat level that there is across the earth. This is unlike anything we've ever seen. And this is just in the last few days we're seeing this kind of violence. In some ways, we get immune to it when there is so much of it. But I think what we need to recognize is that this is only going to increase unless the evil is pushed back. ISIS isn't feeling now like they're being pushed back. They still see a green go light. Iran in no way sees that they're being pushed back. They are expanding their empire as long as they can. So where is the United States in all of this? Why aren't we pushing back? Why isn't China pushing back? Why isn't Russia pushing back? No one is pushing back against the rise of Islamic Jihad.
Again, Michelle, and we talked about this in the first program, it's a privilege and a challenge to be born for such a time as this. We're seeing the various things that were predicted for the very final days. They're beginning to take place. As I said in the last program, as Franklin Graham said, what we're seeing is the many nations having distress with perplexity, every nation having some kind of distress, and yet so few of them are calling out to the one who could solve that distress. You had, and I'm kind of going back to where we were last weekend in our interview, because we talked a lot, and we're still talking a lot about Iran. It's on the forefront of almost anybody's mind if they're indeed trying to understand the times. You had an opportunity, it was recently as December, you actually gave an exhortation to Barack Obama concerning Iran. What was that?
I did. I attended the White House Christmas party with my family. I knew that I would have an opportunity then to speak to the president while we had a photo taken with him. It is a black tie affair, tuxedos, ball gowns, very dressy. Normally, these are very happy events, and it's perfunctories, and people might ask the president to sign an autograph or do something like that. And as I was pondering, I knew this would be my last time to see the president while I was a sitting member of Congress. And I decided to use the opportunity for a substantive conversation. And so after the photo, my family exited, and I turned to the president and I said, "Mr. President, you need to bomb the Iranian nuclear hardware and take it out, because if you don't, Iran will obtain the nuclear weapon and the course of human history will change." And President Obama said to me in a very condescending, patronizing way, "Well, Michelle, it's not quite that easy." And then he took his hand as though he was brushing me away, and he made the gesture, and he said, "But that's okay, like I'm an idiot." And I sit on the Intelligence Committee and rearrange my life to put an astounding 40 hours a week into studying this. Also, it was publicly reported that Barack Obama misses over 60% of his daily intelligence briefings. And I said, "No, Mr. President, it's true. You do need to take out the nuclear hardware, because this is your watch. And if you don't take out that nuclear hardware, they will have the nuclear bomb. They will use it, and it'll happen under your watch. And then I said, Merry Christmas, and away I went. And the reason why I bring that up is because as we look at this situation with Iran, we already have history that nuclear facilities have successfully been taken out historically. It happened in Iraq. It also happened in Syria and in Libya. A nuclear program was stopped. So we know that that's how you stop a nuclear program. You bomb it. You take it out. People say, well, you'll start World War III. That's what Bill O'Reilly said to me. You'll start World War III. Well, I'm just here to say Iran wants to start World War III. They are trying to bring in the 12th Imam, the hidden Imam. Right. They want a world apocalypse. They want World War III. If we want to stop World War III, we will take out this nuclear hardware. All we hear today is that, sanctions. Economic sanctions won't stop the nuclear program. Barack Obama is trying to give Iran the capability of being able to have a nuclear weapon within about 6 to 12 months' time, unless they may have it already. There's a complete hidden track, I believe, that Iran is working on to create nuclear weaponry, triggering nuclear warheads, missile capability. They've got it all. And if we don't take out that hardware while we can, and I believe that today the United States has the capability of taking it out, but I also was told by experts as recently as December that America's window of opportunity to take out the nuclear program in Iran will close in 2016 because President Obama is in the process of gutting our military. He is taking our Navy back to 1917 levels. He's cutting back our Army, and he's gutting our Air Force as well. If President Obama succeeds, our window of opportunity to end that program in Iran could end in 2016. Why in the world would any right-thinking leader who wants their country to survive, why wouldn't you take out the greatest menace in the world today, which is the leading state sponsor of terror, known as Iran, which has been advancing with all deliberate speed toward getting a nuclear weapon. While they've had the last 18 months, when they were supposed to be on their best behavior, they've actually been continuing to spin centrifuges. They have more enriched uranium than ever before. They've gone on a shopping spree to make sure that they can get whatever they need to create plutonium, which only has one purpose, a nuclear bomb. They have not met their guidelines with speaking to the people who are observing whether or not they're in compliance, the International Atomic Energy Agency. They've only met them on one of the 12 categories that they were supposed to respond to. Iran is a flagrant violator that has one goal: death to America, death to Israel.